Hi, Beck.
Hello, darling.
So, thanks very much for agreeing to have this chat and this sort of review over your training history. I'm really looking forward to hearing your story and your reasons for coming to a personal trainer and what you've experienced over the years. So I'm just going to start the conversation by reminding you that we met in August 2006. So we've known each other a really long time. It's been a fantastic journey from my perspective, but I'm really interested to hear what your side of the events has been. So if you just start by telling me a bit of your exercise history and what prompted you to seek out a personal trainer initially.
Okay, I will try and be eloquent. My original reason for coming to see you, if you remember, was my back injury. I had an accident when I was about 22. A skier skied into the back of me, and I ended up being quite badly injured. But I don't think I actually really understood the ramifications. I came back from the ski holiday, had to lie on my back, have heavy duty painkillers for a couple of weeks. And I thought that was it, done, move on. I didn't kind of realize that that was something that I needed to address at that point, had absolutely no knowledge of it at all. And it wasn't until I'd had my pregnancies, I had my little girl first, and I had issues with my back and had back pain. And then I had my little boy, not so little 10-pound boy. And it was literally carrying him around that actually pushed the original injury into something more painful and constant. That, very long story short, I ended up, I remember, because we were living out in the States and we were flying backwards and forwards, and I remember actually kneeling in the limo from JFK back up to New Canaan because I couldn't sit anymore. It was just too painful. So I ended up having an operation on my lower spine, and I had physio, very good physio afterwards. And there was this big conversation about how it's something that will never go away. I will always have an issue, and core becomes number one. Being a bit lazy by nature, I think I didn't really carry forward what the physio had actually taught me. I wasn't consistent. And it was just something that in the end, I realized we'd moved back to the UK, moved into Sevenoaks area. And I knew I needed to do something more consistent to make sure that my core stayed strong. And then therefore I would actually have not so many back issues. So that's why I came to see you. It was all about strengthening that core and maintaining that back. And that's a lesson I have learned and carried through all these years. The reason why I very rarely have back pain now is because of all the core work I've done with you and informing me and make me a bit more intelligent about how I should maintain my body to make sure that I don't go back to that place again. It's a no-brainer. You don't want to be there in that much pain. I will always have an issue in that back area. They fused, they removed the disc, and I know that unless I keep on top of it, which is the fundamentals of doing this training, I will be having back pain again. And in fact, actually, I know when we've had these kind of very turbulent couple of years with the pandemic, because I find coming to see you far more helpful for me, just because I like the way that you guide me and tweak my body, because naturally my body doesn't do exactly the right thing. So it's very important for me to have that feedback. And actually, I'm really pleased now how well the Zooms are going. But again, I do genuinely believe, Paula, that if I hadn't been with you for as long as I have, I don't think I would find it quite so easy. I know when you say something, all right, okay, I remember this, I know what I need to do. ongoing issues. The back is always going to be an issue. The core is always going to be an issue, but we always address the core. There is always core work. I have gone into menopause fairly young, which has caused other issues with my body, and the lack of hormone, and has been an issue for me. And I've put on weight when I really feel that I'm putting my all in. So we've also kind of, apart from the necessity for me to keep that core strong, alignment as well, for issues with shoulder, neck, from stress, from work. I mean, that last year, beginning of last year, going into that, I was in a lot of pain in my neck and shoulders as well. And that was very important to me, that you showed me how to stretch it out, and be more consistent again with stretching. I think the big new thing, it's not that new, I always kind of, it sounds new relatively, has been this stretching. I've taken up running. It's one of the things that I kind of got from you, and the mental aspect in relation to doing this training. I find my sessions with you, and then taking that on to doing things like my running, it's a mental balancing aid as well. I feel better, not just physically, but mentally, after doing training sessions, and taking that on to running. And you've guided me through my running, and I do speed intervals, and it's something that I just do. It's my thing, keeps me a little bit saner than I am normally. And I kind of feel that I think this thing with this personal training, if you were actually trying to sum up to someone, and I know I've spoken to quite a few people about this, it's not just the physical aspect. Physical aspect is important. It is important because that's your pains in your backs, etc., your neck, your shoulders, but it's actually the mental strength as well. Life has thrown quite a few things at us, and I know I am in a better place than I would have been because of the work that we have done together. I know that. That's not even debated. I know when I've had issues, well, I had this migraine issues last year, and I know I couldn't train. I actually felt worse because of it, and I was excited and wanting to get back to it. And like I said, it truly is a mental thing just as much as a physical thing. God, have I blurbed? I really have blurbed.
Not at all. I mean, it's fantastic to hear. And I think what I'm hearing is the evolution. So we started by addressing chronic back pain.
Yeah.
And we looked at how we could help you with that. But it sounds like there's been an evolution through the years into something that's different to that. So now that I know you love your running, and I know what that gives you in terms of, as you say, sort of the mental well-being, and exercising now has become much more of a lifestyle thing. I mean, I noted you just said that you felt you were a naturally lazy, lazy in nature, but I haven't experienced that. I see someone who really applies how we're trying to educate and how we're trying to help you to be able to live, a really well-rounded, healthy lifestyle. And it sounds like that it's evolved from pain relief into something that's much more holistic and a lifestyle change.
I think I just wanted to make the point to someone who actually goes, oh gosh, I can't do this. Why would I prefer sitting on the sofa with a cup of tea and a bag of biscuits? I'm one of those people too. I truly am. I would sit there and eat cake till the heart, and sit and watch some crummy TV program. I think what it is actually understanding that when you get, even if that is you, the benefits you get from mentally just feeling better. You just feel being physically strong and mentally stronger. You could just cope with life. You just cope with life. And one of the things I didn't mention, and you were fundamental to this, I also had an ankle operation, didn't I? In all of these years, I had an ankle operation. I went over my ankle. I tore both of the ligaments on either side of my ankle. And you were the one who got me back training and walking and doing the whole thing. And there is no way I would have been able to do that. Rehab, you were fantastic in rehab, absolutely fantastic. You knew exactly, you did your research. And that's what I love about you as well, is I'll sit there and go, problem today. And the next thing I know, there's all the research has been done, and you've told me everything that I need to know. So again, it's not even, all right, there's the physical aspect, there's a mental aspect, but there's also that support aspect, that ability to have someone there who is knowledgeable, smart, intelligent, who will go away and do almost the homework for you. It's one hell of a wonderful thing to have in your armory with life, having that kind of backup, that backup person who's always there to listen to the gripes and grumbles, and God, you've listened to it over the years. No judgment. It's very, well, it makes my life easier. It's another thing that makes my life a lot easier. But I mean, that ankle, I can never forget that ankle. God in heaven, that was awful. Getting back through that.
I do recall you coming into the studio in your boot, and we did abdominal training, we did upper body stability work, just to to do what we could whilst trying to help you get back onto that ankle and to be weight bearing on the ankle. So I do recall that time.
I think sometimes people think of PT, there is this image of someone who's pushing you and, oh, you must go, and it's not that. It's more holistic than that. It's if someone is sitting there telling you have to do 500 reps because that's what you have to do, to me that's not what personal training is and should be. And that's, you acknowledge my issues and you deal with them and you adapt and adopt. It's like this morning session, to be honest with you. I was feeling flat as a pancake this morning, and immediately you'd adapted the plan for today, and we did what I needed to do, and I feel so much better for it.
That's great to hear.
And that is another thing that I think people get nervous about when they hear personal training, is you see all these images on the TV of these people, and they don't actually understand, if you're actually, your standard of personal training, it's about the individual. It is so much more personalized than people understand. It says, the name says it on the tin, personal training, you should get it, but people don't. I know people who've been put off just by the fact that, oh, they see this image of what a personal trainer, and they just don't see, that there is something that you provide far beyond just that aspect of pumping iron or whatever else.
Well, I'm so pleased that is your experience, and that's what you feel I've been able to deliver, and I think that's very important to me as a trainer, that you look at the person and you listen to the person, and it's sort of a marriage of what you're hearing and seeing that person wants, but equally understanding and from your experience, your own experiences, training and learning, that you start to try and work out exactly what they need as well. And I think it's a bit of a marriage of both. So the client is getting what they want, but also what they need.
But I've also enjoyed our journey with you. You go, like I said, you go away and you do so much research behind your craft, and you bring these nuggets of knowledge to me. And for instance, all of this stretching, game changer. absolute game changer. For me, I used to do the running, and I'd always end up kind of a little bit kind of injured, knee would hurt, blah, blah, blah. And this new concept that you brought for me with regards to the stretching, and this concept of stretching being something that you really focus on pre-après as well as après, has been game changing. I don't have the same issues that I used to have. And I love the fact that you are still investigating, you are still motivated, that you are still so interested in your industry and in your craft, that I'm getting the benefits of these little bits of knowledge, and you kind of go, oh yeah, Paul has read up something else on this.
Well, that's a really significant point, and I have to give the acknowledgement of that to Ian King, because as you know, I went back to studying last year, and with Kingsport International, with Ian King, who is the creator of an awful lot of the concepts that we now use in physical preparation and coaching. And it was through going back to study and almost going back to the beginning in a way for me, that I was able to bring those concepts to you. So I don't claim to have invented those concepts. You know, they are direct learning and experiencing them for myself from Ian King and his coach education. So, you know, that is significant, and you know, it just shows that, you know, he's sort of like you know, one of the strength coaches from, well, I think he's been in the industry for 40 years, you know, and he's brought all that experience and all the concepts that he invented into these coaching courses that I'm now on. And, you know, it's now enabling me to bring new things to you, and things that work, and things that the evidence is you don't get injured, you know, and it's been a game changer for you. So
absolutely,
yeah, we have to thank Mr. King for that.
Well,
and
I think there's an element, Paula, that that's part of the absolute loyalty and confidence you have, that you've inspired in me for you, is the fact that I know that everything that you do, you have researched, you have worked at, you trying to improve, you're always constantly trying to improve. And that does give you a bit of a kind of a lovely feeling of surety and comfort that, you know, I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. I mean, I truly wouldn't. I wouldn't do this experience with anybody else.
Well, that's fantastic to hear, Beck. I mean, I enjoy training you thoroughly, and you know, I've enjoyed seeing the evolution, and you know, the training and the physical work that we're doing now, you know, is so different to where we started. So it's sort of been a journey together. I guess, what would you say that the major adaptations that you had to make last year, with obviously the pandemic and having to work online a lot more and work remotely, what would you say the major challenges were? But do you feel that you're still able to get as much benefit out of your sessions remotely, even though we can't see each other face to face at the moment?
To be absolutely honest, as I said, I prefer seeing you face to face. I just do. And I was concerned, I have to say, it's not as great an experience, but
no,
this is the way the world is. But I am still getting a lot out of it. It is a focus for me. I sound a little bit silly. I almost see you as much as a coach for myself. So for me, it's really important that we have these sessions just as much about doing particular exercises, but it's actually understanding where I am at that precise moment in time and interpreting what I need, and also giving me advice, bearing in mind I go off and do my own cardio bits and pieces, and And I mean, that's one of my big things is, I love the fact that I think I've always, I'll do the cardio on my own. I can do the cardio, but what I can't do is do the right movements and do the right weights, do the right kind of making sure the body's aligned. Because remember my knee going all over in that direction and that direction. And it's that tracking and making sure, so keeping everything all fit. That you can do on Zoom, absolutely no problem at all. Like I said, the ideal world is I'll be down at the gym. I like coming down to the gym to see you. But this is certainly working for me. It's my touch base. It's my, right, I've got this issue, got that. I need to talk it through with you. And then we do, it's like this morning, I've got my tight lats. I've got to work on those. So I know now you've given me some exercises that I can actually do and kind of keep on working at. So yes, it's really important to me. My sessions on Zoom are still my little anchor, if you like.
Yeah, and isn't it great that you're now at a stage where, whilst it's not ideal, you don't necessarily have to be in the studio with me. You now have enough knowledge for yourself and enough understanding that you can go off, and if I'm advising something, you know exactly what you need to do. So you can work independently and remotely with a little bit of autonomy as well, which is for me as your coach and trainer, until last year I didn't see how feasible that could even be. But it's, again, I think it's a lovely reflection of the evolution of your learning through the process over the years.
But it's as much,
you can now do that.
But I'd say it's as much about your communication. What I love, remember when we do some exercises, I'll say, why are we doing this? What's that for? Why is that? What's this for? And that is really important that you explain to me why, because I have now that ability. When I do a movement, I'm immediately going, right, where are my toes? Where's my shoulders? And I go through that list because you've taught me my little markers, my little heads up, right, this is the moment now, check, 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 check. And that's something that, you've taught me. So yes, I can go and do these things, and I can actually self-regulate. I mean, I am sure sometimes I don't do it exactly right, but I've got that knowledge now because you're very good at telling me how and why. And as soon as you know the how and why, it's much easier to implement.
And it's important, it's important that you as the client understand the rationale for doing something. And today, I think we went a little bit further down the path. Today we started talking about recovery weeks.
Yes.
Which again, we've never talked about recovery weeks before, but we're now exploring maybe why you felt a little bit flat today, and we looked at what you've previously been doing, and we're now starting to explore the concept of putting in maybe more structured recovery times for you.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I love do you know what? There is not ever a line that every session I do with you, I don't think I've ever clock watched. They go by and it's like, you go, right, we're done, and we go, what? I mean, it's never been like that. It's always been something that I've embraced, and the hour goes by very, very quickly.
And I know there are clients who definitely have clock watched. So thank you very much. So what would you say, obviously we're in 2021, so what do you feel like your goals would be for this year, bearing in mind that, things aren't going to go back to normal very quickly, it would appear. So have you managed to set yourself some goals for this year?
That's a really good question. Goals. Fitness wise, body wise, mental wise, I want to get stronger. I think this is do you ever get to that point where you go, I've done it? I don't think you ever do. I think it's a constant evolution. So I think for me, it will be, I'll keep on taking it. I want to take it further each time. I'm not saying I'm going to go and run marathons or anything like that. But for me, mentally and physically, I just want to get stronger. I am very conscious I am getting older. I am very conscious my hormones have gone. And I know that my body is not as supple as it should be. But one of the big things, again, from you, I've learned is that if I can go into older age as fit as I possibly can be, I'll be in a better position. I'll be in a much better position. I want to be able to be walking upright without any issues as long as I possibly can. I love walking. I would hate to lose that. I'm actually thinking of taking up golf, but obviously not at the moment. I think work-wise, business-wise, that's a whole different subject that we'll have to wait and see what happens in 2021. But I think I think that is the point. I think doing this always wants you to get that bit better, that bit better, that bit better, that bit better, that bit stronger, that bit more flexible. I mean, our flexibility, that's been our big thing, I know, recently. And I giggle because I'm still, I can't do the splits. I don't think I ever will be able to.
No, but we're certainly improving.
We're improving. We're definitely improving. I know we're improving because, like I said to you, I'm now doing my run and I have no issues. I do not have. I've got a bit of a leg pain, as you know, at the moment, back of my knee. And I think that is to do with the fact that my trainers, I've just changed my trainers. My other trainers, I ran them to death. I really had. And I know I had, because I've just bought some new ones and I put those on and it was like, oh, this is how it's meant to feel. And I think in the process, I've kind of pulled a hip out and done all that kind of thing. But I know what to do to get it right. And I know what I need to do to bring it back in line. And I mean, that's the point. It's all, life is pretty tough. It's pretty tough at the moment for all of us. I know that. But normally it's pretty busy, hectic. What I do with you gives me a strong platform to be able to deal with all the other crap that basically goes on in life. And that's basically the most important thing. I mean, you know, if ever anyone wanted to speak to me about it, I'd be more than happy to speak to them about it. But it just gives you that strength, that inner strength. I know I would not have if I wasn't doing this. I know it. So well, no, I wouldn't stop, whether it's pandemic, not pandemic.
Well, I mean, that's a phenomenal story, and you know, a phenomenal oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Explanation, I guess, you know, for what it's brought to you. And I feel very honoured that you feel that way. As I say, you know, 2006, you know, there's been a lot of miles, and we've come a long way. And personally, I'm delighted that, you know, we've come to where we're at the moment, and we still feel there's more to do.
That's the beauty. You know, I think that's almost the beauty of it. It's the growth.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, if we can continue to help you and, you know, bring all those things that you've described into your life, then that fulfills me in my profession. It fulfills me personally, because I love working with you. So you know, thank you very much. And is there anything else, you know, any just words of wisdom or things that had you, if you could go back to the beginning, what things would you look for in a coach or somebody who was going to guide you you know, again, what characteristics would you advise people to look for?
For me, Paula, it has definitely been, it's been very much about you and about your personality, because I promise you, being the inner couch potato with the chocolate cake and the cup of tea and the TV, it wouldn't take much for me to just go, oh. It was very much about having someone, which you are, who is extremely knowledgeable, so you feel confident in taking advice. That's really important. You have to have that intelligence, emotional intelligence. You are extremely emotionally intelligent. You read me very well. You know how to handle me when I'm having a bad day or when I'm having a decent day, and I know I do that. But you're approachable, you're open. There's a warmth about you. I couldn't deal with someone who I didn't feel I made a connection with. Like you said, we've known each other 2006, so I think I'm quite a good reader of people, and I knew from the very beginning that you were a very hardworking, determined, knowledgeable, emotionally intelligent, smart, but ultimately kind. And you know what? I haven't seen that combination in any other personal trainer I've come across. And I think it's the compassion and the understanding and the patience, because let's face it, we don't always get it right.
Well, I don't always get it right. That's again, you know, it's something that we have to, as a trainer, I think you have to acknowledge that, you know, reading people's bodies and understanding people, it's you know, it's a real skill that is a never-ending skill that you have to keep working at and acquiring. And I think it's about trust, isn't it? You know, it's building trust with each other and understanding each other, and I think that's what helps to create a successful long-term relationship as we've had.
But do you know what? I knew from very early on that there was, just like I said, emotional intelligence about you. You knew how to handle me, and you knew how to get the best from me. And that was, I think that's just part and parcel of your personality. I don't even think that's necessarily something that you could, the knowledge and everything and your determination and all of that, but there is just basically, it is, yeah. I have absolute faith in you. I have absolute 100% faith. If you tell me something, absolutely. And like I said, I mean, you're kind, you have warmth about you. It's a pleasure to spend time with you. And again, I think those are really important parts of being a personal trainer. You know, it's
you have to like each other. I think.
Yeah.
I think it would be very difficult to work with people that you don't have that connection with.
Yeah. But I felt it very early on. I mean, you know, like I said, 2006, I'm quite blown away by that. I'm not that old.
Well, I am very grateful to you and obviously to Rob as well for, you know, the trust and the support, and for working with me for this length of time. And I just hope that, you know, we can get through what everybody's going through at the moment and get back to working face to face safely, and continuing to push you and
Yep.
you know,
Keep doing
challenge
it.
you and, you know, keep the body moving well.
Absolutely, absolutely. But like I said to you, if you did want me to ever speak to anybody, I'm more than happily have a conversation with someone. But I actually think you should have more, you know, I know that someone will meet you, Paula, and they'll go, yeah, you're right. She's right. She's definitely right. She's, you know, you've got the emotional intelligence to deal and to make sure that people understand why they're with you fairly quickly.
Yeah.
You know, I can do a list of all the people that you train, darling, that I know, and and it's all very positive.
Yeah, well, thank you very, very much, Beck, and thank you very much for taking this time to have this conversation.
That's all right, darling, anytime.
You know, I really appreciate it, and you know, just, you know what you've got to do this weekend.
Yes, I know.
And I look forward to catching up with you next week.
Okay, look forward to it, darling. You take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Thanks.
darling.
Bye.
Bye.